What is your name?
My name is Andrea Adibambo Olatunji.
When were you born?
I was born on December 5th, 1975,
Where were you born?
St. Louis, Missouri.
How was it growing up in Missouri?
Actually, I did not grow up in St. Louis, Missouri. I was born in St. Louis, Missouri, and my parents were international students. They waited 8 weeks for my mom to be well enough to travel after she had a baby. They were ready to go home. My mom had graduated, and 8 weeks after she had a baby, off to Nigeria I went. So I actually grew up in Nigeria.
How was it growing up in Nigeria?
It was fantastic, actually. I remembered it very quiet. I was the last of 3 children, and in a very stable household. Both my parents are very educated and very driven with their careers, and I grew up just fine, to the best of my opinion, to the best of my knowledge. I went to boarding school when I was 11, and I was there until I was 17. I came home about twice a year. So that's how I grew up.
How were your parents while you were growing up?
Normal for me. My parents, they've been married now for 52 years, and always been loving. My mom was a strict disciplinarian. She was so strict, and my dad was so lenient and so gentle and so caring, and they're both very hardworking, still very hardworking, and they just complement each other very well. It was a stable household. They loved each other, still love each other, and it was a pleasure to have been raised by them.
What is your favorite memory from your childhood?
You know what's funny? Christmas was very special, but no gifts were exchanged. Our tradition in Nigeria was just to eat special food, and usually it's always rice, different kinds of rice, and we always had chicken, which is not as, we don't eat chicken as often as you guys do now, because we ate maybe twice a week if we're lucky. So Christmas is when we kind of like go all out, and my favorite thing on Christmas was that we exchanged food dishes with the neighbors, and I was usually the one that would deliver that, and in exchange they'll give me a small gift of equivalent of like $1 or $2, and that just always was special, because that's, by the end of the night I had like a small token of money. It's always fun.
As a child, what did you want to be when you grow up?
Oh my goodness. More than anything else, I wanted to be a doctor. And I studied really hard to achieve that. Cut.
What did you like to do as a child?
I'm not very proud of this, but I was not a very active child. I was not a part of, I didn't totally immerse myself in any kind of sport.
Growing up, what school did you go to, and how was it?
Growing up, I was pretty steady. I went to the same, we'll call it, nursery school, which is what you guys call preschool, and then primary school, which is like elementary school, and then after the primary schools I went on to the boarding school, and I was in the same school the whole time. I was privileged and steady enough that I did not change schools, and I was in the same boarding school for my what you guys would call middle and high school, and I was there for about 6 years. And boarding school, I believe, was a unique experience, which kind of helps you to grow up and grow up faster.
Growing up, how would your parents describe you?
Well, I'm a little biased because I'm the last of 3 children, so I believe, okay, the truth, I am the favorite. It's true. So they thought I was so beautiful, thought I was so smart, thought I was so I had the best personality. They thought I could just light up any room. And they always just believe the best of me in every situation. They will always stand up for me, and that helped me to just think highly of myself and stand up for myself too.
Growing up, who inspired you the most?
I'm gonna say my father. My dad always just believed the best in me, and he worked hard, and no matter what the situation he always just inspires me to be better, to think better, to be different, to be kind, and he will never believe any negative thing about me. Even up until now, he will just never believe it. He always thinks the best of me.
What were you doing at my age?
At your age, at 14, I was in school. Just a complete nerd. Studying, I was in school. I lived in school, so there was no opportunity to do anything but be in school. I came home for an extended period of time, 2 times a year, and every now and then long weekend here and there, but mostly I was in school. My friends were my life. My school was my life. Sorry, boring, but true.
What moment in your life will you cherish forever?
I have several, but the most precious to me, because of just all the events that came from that, was June 1st of 2002. And that was the day I got married to my very handsome husband. And that was just the beginning of awesome things, because my children came after that. And so it's just the beginning of a new season. And that just always makes me smile when I remember that day.
What made you move to the U.S.?
Well, I moved to the U.S. when I was 17. Remember I told you I was born in St. Louis, Missouri. I grew up in Nigeria from when I was 2 weeks old. 8 weeks old. Did I say 2 weeks? 8 weeks old. When I was just weeks old to 17, right after high school. It was time for college, and my parents just decided that it would be best for me to come to the States for my education, and that's what I did. I came here for college. I went to UT Arlington, and I didn't have any plans to either stay or go back home afterwards. I just kind of left it open to however life continues or takes a turn, and I met my husband, and the rest is history.
When did you meet Daddy?
Well, I met him when I was just right before my 18th birthday. We were working together at the airport, and he was a college student, I was a college student, and we just started conversations, and we realized we had the same interest. He was interested in medicine, so was I, and we took the same courses and went to the same school, and we just kind of connected, and the rest is history.
How was your first job?
Well, my first job was when I was about your age, about 14, going on 15. I was, my father hired my sister and I, because he worked with the engineering department in his company, to do some traffic counts. So we would count traffic, how many trucks, how many cars, how many taxis, and just kind of do a survey. And that's what we did for about 6 hours, for about 2 weeks. So that's my first real job that I got paid to do officially.
What makes you happy?
Oh my gosh, a lot of things makes me happy. I call myself a happy person actually, because I find a lot of joy and happiness being around my family. I found a lot of happiness being around my friends. My women friend makes me happy. But on top of all that, it's family. But then fitness is one of my passions. So when I'm sweating and doing activities, when I'm doing yoga, running, those are my passion. Anything that makes me sweat is my passion. So I get super happy. Even when I'm exhausted, my high point, my happiest moment was when I was super exhausted after my marathon. My one and only marathon. I was so wiped out, but I could not be happier.
What is your favorite book or movie of all time?
My favorite book is The Last Arrow. I just read that not too long ago, and that by far is my favorite book because it was so inspiring. By Erwin McManus, I believe, and it was for me it was a very good read. It's my favorite so far.
Most prized possession?
I'll have to go back to my wedding ring, and I don't think it's not because of the monetary value, but it's the sentimental value and what it means to me and our family.
What is your biggest regret?
My biggest regret is not taking more chances, not taking more risk, not exploring or being involved in more adventures. I always kind of played it safe when I was younger, but now that I'm older, it's not much of a regret. It's more because I have a chance now to just kind of explore and take more risk and just kind of have fun with life and not take it too seriously.
What is the best trip you've ever been on?
Okay, not for exotic value either, because I've been on many great trips, but a road trip that I went with my parents, my sibling, and my family, my children and my husband, was such a good trip because it just was such a good time, well spent. We didn't go to the beach, or it wasn't a Hawaii trip or anything like that, but it was just going back to Missouri for my parents, where they went to college many years ago, and then going back to their old school and old place of work. It was just so meaningful, and time with grandchildren was just powerful.
What advice would you give your 20-year-old self?
My 20-year-old self was pretty cool. The only thing I will tell her is to take more risk and have more fun. I took myself a little seriously, but I was having fun still. I was so laser focused on my goals, and I wanted to achieve them. But if I have to tell her, I'll say she did a fantastic job, made good choices, but lighten up a little. Have fun while you're at it.
What do you wish you spent less time doing in your life?
Definitely worrying. I don't spend too much time on it, but even the little time I spend worrying on things that it's out of my control, things I really can't change or do anything about, I think that's a complete waste of time. But whatever I can do to change anything, then action is my power.
What advice would you give me for my life?
I will say, oh my gosh, even at 14, you're remarkable. I'll say be bold, be confident, be amazing in whatever you're doing, and if you get it wrong, that's fine. If you believe in yourself, go for it. And if you fail at something, you learn from it. There's no failure. The only failure is when not trying. So keep trying, do your best, and do it with such fabulousness.